The human ship Rising Dawn drifted slowly toward the massive alien vessels hanging in space like jeweled ornaments against the black void. Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge, watching the strange ships through the main screen. Their hulls seemed to be made of crystal and metal that sparkled with its own light. "First time meeting aliens," muttered Engineer Lim Jae-sung from his station. "Hope they're friendly." Ambassador Kim Tae-ho adjusted his formal uniform one more time. He had been chosen to speak for all of humanity in this historic moment. Behind him stood his aide Park Jae-min, holding a tablet full of notes about human culture and history. "Remember," Kim said quietly to his team, "we know nothing about them. Let them talk first. Be polite. Be careful." The alien ships were huge compared to the human vessel. Each one looked like it could carry 1,000 people. Strange symbols glowed along their sides in colors that hurt to look at directly. Captain Lee had never seen anything so beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "They're sending a message," reported Communications Officer Yoon So-young. Wait, they're using our own language. Perfect Korean and English." "How is that possible?" asked Park Jae-min. "They must have been watching us for a while," Kim replied. His voice stayed calm, but inside he felt worried. How long had these aliens been studying Earth without humans knowing? The message came through clearly. "Welcome, people of South-3. We are the Galactic Coalition. Please dock with our diplomatic vessel for formal contact procedures." Captain Lee guided the Rising Dawn toward the largest alien ship. The docking process was smooth, almost automatic. Whatever technology these aliens had, it was far beyond anything humans had built. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Kim stepped through, first, followed by his team. The corridor beyond was unlike anything from Earth. The walls seemed to glow with their own soft light. The air felt thick and smelled like flowers mixed with metal. They walked for several minutes before reaching a vast chamber. The ceiling stretched up so high, it disappeared into shadows. In the center of the room stood a circular table surrounded by the strangest beings Kim had ever imagined. One looked almost like a human, but taller and thinner, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Another appeared to be made entirely of living crystal, its body reflecting light in rainbow patterns. A third creature looked like a cloud of silver mist held together in a roughly human shape. "I am High Archon Velthis," said the color-shifting being. Her voice was musical, like someone singing while they spoke. "I represent the Veltar people. We welcome you to this gathering." The crystal being spoke next, its voice sounding like wind chimes. "I am Axiom, Prime Resonance. My people have existed in this galaxy for over 1 million of your years." The silver mist creature simply said, "Zephyrian Collective acknowledges human presence." Kim bowed slightly, the way he had practiced. "I am Ambassador Kim Tae-ho, representing humanity and the planet Earth. We are honored to meet you." Velthis smiled, showing teeth that sparkled like diamonds. "Your world interests us greatly. Our surveys show that Sol-3 is what we classify as a Class 12 Deathworld. We have studied many such planets. They are usually empty of intelligent life." "Deathworld," asked Park Jae-min. "A planet where survival is difficult," explained Axiom. "High radiation, violent weather, dangerous life forms, frequent natural disasters. Most species cannot evolve intelligence under such harsh conditions." Kim felt the other humans tense slightly behind him. These aliens were talking about Earth, like it was some kind of prison planet. "Yet somehow," continued Velthis, "your species not only survived, but developed space travel. Quite remarkable for Deathworld natives." The way she said it made Kim feel like she was talking to a clever pet that had learned a new trick. "We have prepared a generous offer for your people," announced another alien that looked like a walking tree made of blue metal. "The Coalition will provide you with junior partnership status. You will receive basic technology upgrades and protection from hostile forces. In return, You will serve in roles suited to your unique background. What kind of roles? Asked Captain Lee. Mining operations on dangerous worlds. Salvage work in contaminated areas. Jobs that require someone expendable, said Velt casually. Your Deathworld origin makes you naturally suited for such tasks. Kim noticed how Intelligence Officer Yoon So-young was quietly taking notes on everything. She was writing down how each alien species breathed, what kind of atmosphere they needed, how they moved. Captain Lee was doing the same thing, studying their ships through the chamber's transparent walls. We appreciate your generous offer, Kim said carefully. We would like time to consider your proposal and share it with our people. Of course, said Velthis. Take all the time you need. We understand that Deathworld species often have trouble with complex decisions. As the meeting continued, the aliens talked about their peaceful civilizations, their advanced technology, and their long history of cooperation. They spoke like teachers explaining simple concepts to children. But Kim noticed something else. These beings seemed soft somehow. They moved carefully, breathed filtered air, and wore devices that constantly monitored their health. They talked about peace like they had forgotten what war looked like. When the meeting ended and the humans returned to their ship, Kim gathered his team in the conference room. Thoughts? He asked. They think we're primitive, said Park Jimin. They think we're useful, corrected Yoon So-young, looking at her notes. Useful and disposable. Captain Lee leaned back in his chair. Did anyone else notice how fragile they seemed? Kim nodded slowly. These aliens had grown comfortable in their peaceful galaxy. Maybe too comfortable. 6 months had passed since the first meeting with the Coalition. Captain Song Ji-hai gripped the controls of her salvage ship Steel Hammer as it moved through the deadly asteroid field around Kepler. 4-4 to sea. Space debris crashed against the hull like angry fists, but the ship kept moving forward. How much further to the medical depot? Asked Engineer Lim Jae-sung from his station. He wore only a basic work suit, not the heavy protective gear that other species needed in this radiation-soaked system. 2 kilometers, Song replied. The Zephyrians said this place was impossible to reach. Too much radiation, too many asteroids, too dangerous for any civilized being. Her crew laughed. Impossible was a word humans had stopped believing in long ago. The planet below them glowed with a sickly green light. 3 years ago, a biological weapon had been released here during a war between 2 minor coalition species. Both sides had immediately declared the world permanently lost and forbidden anyone from going near it. But the coalition desperately needed the medical supplies stored in the orbital depot. Supplies that could save millions of lives on their core worlds. So, they had asked the humans to try. Radiation levels are climbing, reported Navigator Park Soo-min. Nothing we can't handle though. Reminds me of that cleanup job we did near the old Seoul reactor. Song nodded. Humans had been living with radiation for decades. Their bodies had learned to repair the damage faster than most species could even detect it. The salvage ship docked with the abandoned depot. Inside, Song's team moved quickly through corridors that coalition species would consider instantly lethal. The air recyclers had failed years ago, leaving behind a toxic mix of gases that burned the throat and stung the eyes. Just like working in the old chemical plants back home, muttered crew chief Kim Ho-jin as he loaded medical containers onto their cart. At least this stuff doesn't explode when you look at it wrong. Meanwhile, on the frontier world of New Busan, Colonial Administrator Han Yoo-jin was dealing with a different kind of problem. Someone had released dangerous predators near the human settlement. Large flying creatures with razor-sharp wings and poisonous bites, clearly meant to drive the colonists away or kill them. Instead, Dr. Shinbora was feeding one of the creatures, by hand. The razor wings are actually quite intelligent, she explained to Han, as the bat-like creature ate chunks of processed meat from her palm. Their venom isn't deadly to humans. It just causes numbness, which makes it perfect for medical use. Around the settlement, other colonists were training the creatures to carry supplies and patrol the perimeter. The Razorwings seemed to enjoy having jobs to do. Whoever released these probably thought they were signing our death warrant, Han said, watching a colonist child play with a young Razorwing like it was a pet dog. Instead, they gave us the perfect solution to our transportation problems. Back in Coalition space, Trade Representative Oh Hyen-woo was fielding increasingly worried questions from alien diplomats. Humans were going places that had been marked as forbidden zones for centuries. Your people retrieved the medical supplies from Kepler-44 to C, said a Veltar representative, her color-shifting skin showing patterns of confusion. Our experts said that mission was suicide. Captain Song said it was easier than salvaging the old space stations in Earth orbit. Oh replied with a shrug. Those things were falling apart and full of toxic waste. At least the depot was still in one piece. The Veltar diplomat stared at him. You regularly work in environments that would kill our people in minutes. Well, yes. How else would we clean up after ourselves? Similar conversations were happening throughout Coalition space. Humans were taking jobs that other species wouldn't even consider. Working in the radioactive zones around dying stars, mining asteroids and gravity wells that crushed normal ships, exploring planets with atmospheres made of acid and poison, and they were doing it all with casual efficiency that terrified their alien neighbors. Commander Park Da-yoon received a distress call from a Coalition science vessel stuck in the methane storms of a gas giant. The ship's crew was trapped, their engines damaged, their life support failing. Tell them we're on our way, Park ordered her pilot. How long to reach them? 12 hours through the storm, came the reply. Make it 8. The rescue ship Brave Dawn plunged into the gas giant's atmosphere like a missile. Hurricane winds tore at the hull. Lightning strikes lit up the cockpit. Pressure that could crush mountains pressed down on every surface. This is fun, commented co-pilot Lee Jun-ho as he fought to keep the ship stable. Remember that typhoon we flew through over the Pacific? This is just like that, but with more electricity. They found the Coalition vessel tumbling helplessly in the storm. Its crew of crystalline beings was huddled in their safe room, waiting to die. When the humans docked and boarded their ship, the aliens couldn't believe their eyes. How did you survive the storm? Asked the ship's captain, its crystal body flickering with amazement. Storm? Park looked confused. You mean the weather outside? That's nothing compared to what we get during hurricane season back home. Word of these rescues and salvage operations spread throughout Coalition space. Species that had lived in comfort for thousands of years were learning that their newest members came from a world that would kill them in hours, and the humans were treating it all like it was perfectly normal. On a secure communication channel, Coalition military leaders discussed what they were seeing. These Deathworlders are adapting to every environment we put them in, reported one general. They're going places we've never dared to explore. What if they decide we're in their way? Asked another voice. The question hung in the space between stars, waiting for an answer that no one wanted to give. Hi Archon. Zixthera stood in the secret meeting chamber deep inside the Coalition's most secure station. His crystalline body pulsed with angry red light as he addressed the gathered conspirators. Representatives from 12 different species had come to this hidden place, all sharing the same fear. These humans are becoming too dangerous, Zixthera declared, his voice echoing like breaking glass. They go where we cannot. They do what we cannot. They are making us look weak. A Veltar commander named Salandra shifted nervously in her chair. Perhaps we are overreacting. They have been helpful so far. Helpful. Zixthera's light flared brighter. They retrieved medical supplies from a death world in 6 hours. It took our best scientists 3 months just to plan a safe approach to that system. They are making us look like children. General Kexmore, a being that looked like living metal, nodded agreement. My sources report that human colonies are thriving in environments that would kill our people instantly. They are expanding into regions we marked as permanently uninhabitable. What do you propose we do? Asked a representative from the Zephyrian Collective. Its voice like whispers in the wind. Zixtera smiled, an expression that looked terrifying on his crystal features. We test them. We find their limits. We prove that Deathworlders are still just primitives who got lucky. The first test came 3 weeks later. Captain Beak Inho was leading a routine supply convoy through the Rigel system when his ship's engines suddenly began failing one by one. Warning lights flashed across every control panel as critical systems shut down without explanation. Sabotage, reported Chief Engineer Nam Dobbin from the lead freighter Iron Mountain. Someone inserted virus code into our navigation computers. Very sophisticated work. Other species would have panicked. Their ships would have drifted helplessly until rescue arrived. But humans had been dealing with equipment failures since they first left Earth's atmosphere. How long to fix it? Beak asked calmly. Give me 4 hours and some spare parts, Nam replied. The code is clever, but whoever wrote it doesn't understand human engineering. They expected our systems to be standardized, like coalition ships. While Nam worked, the convoy continued moving using manual navigation and backup thrusters. By the time the saboteurs realized their plan had failed, the human ships were already approaching their destination. The second test was more direct. On the human colony world of New Sol, Administrative Director Kim Sarum woke up to alarms, screaming throughout the settlement. Her security chief, Lieutenant Park Haijin, was already at the command center when she arrived. Unknown creatures appeared near the agricultural sector, Park reported. Large, aggressive, definitely not native to this world. Someone dropped them here during the night. Kim looked at the security footage. The beasts were enormous, covered in armored scales, with claws that could tear through metal. They moved fast and attacked anything that moved. Looks like the saber-toothed bears from the Australian reserves, Kim said thoughtfully, but bigger and meaner. How do we deal with them? Asked Park. Same way we dealt with the saber-toothed bears. Within hours, the colonists had organized hunting parties. Dr. Yun Ji-woo, the colony's biologist, was already studying the creatures' behavior patterns and identifying weak points. The beasts that were supposed to destroy the colony instead became a source of food and materials. Their hide makes excellent armor plating, reported hunter team leader Oh Min-soo, and the meat tastes like really good beef. The third test came from space. Pirate Captain Valmarik led a squadron of ships disguised to look like common raiders. His orders were simple: attack a human convoy and make it look like a random pirate strike. Show the galaxy that humans were not invincible. Convoy Commander Ru Taemin was escorting mineral shipments through an asteroid field when the attack began. Energy beams lanced out from hidden positions, striking his escort ships. Multiple hostiles, reported Tactical Officer Lee Seung-jin. They're using coalition weapon signatures, but the attack patterns are too coordinated for regular pirates. Black Ops, Ru said immediately. Someone wants to test us. Instead of running or calling for help, Ru did something the attackers never expected. He turned his cargo haulers into weapons. All ships. Emergency Protocol 7, he ordered. Turn the asteroids into allies. The human convoy scattered into the asteroid field, using the giant rocks as cover and weapons. Cargo ships with mining equipment became mobile artillery platforms. Freighters loaded with metal or became guided missiles. Captain Valmark watched in horror as his advanced warships were systematically destroyed by what should have been defenseless cargo vessels. The humans used every piece of space debris as a weapon, turned every asteroid into a fortress. How are they doing this? Screamed his weapons officer. They're fighting like the asteroids are part of their fleet, Valmarak replied, unable to believe what he was seeing. By the end of the engagement, 3 pirate ships had been captured intact. Their crews were prisoners, their weapons studied, their technology analyzed. What was supposed to be a demonstration of human weakness had become a masterclass in human tactical thinking. Back on the Coalition station, Dr. Kang Suri was filing her routine reports on the captured aliens. She documented their biology, their technology, their psychological responses to captivity. Her notes were detailed and scientific. They also read like a military intelligence assessment. Director Yu Sang-ho reviewed these reports with growing interest. Each random attack was teaching them more about Coalition capabilities and tactics. Someone was testing humanity, but they were learning more about their testers than they realized. Keep documenting everything, he told his analysts. If someone wants to play games with us, we need to understand the rules. In his private office, Yu opened a secure file labeled Threat Assessment Database. Every species that had tried to test humanity was now being studied in return. The hunters had become the hunted, and they didn't even know it yet. The Grand Assembly Chamber had never been so quiet. 200 species representatives sat in perfect silence as High Archon Zixthera stood at the central podium, his crystalline body glowing with righteous anger. These humans have become a threat to our peaceful way of life, he declared, his voice echoing through the massive hall. They show no respect for proper order. They go where they should not go. They do what should not be done. I demand their immediate expulsion from Coalition space. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled delegates. Many species had grown uncomfortable with humanity's rapid expansion into dangerous regions of space. Others worried about the humans' casual attitude toward risks that terrified more civilized beings. They are Deathworlders, continued Zixthera. Violence is in their nature. They will corrupt our children and destroy our peace. We must act before it is too late. Ambassador. Kim Taeho sat quietly in the human section, a simple data pad resting on the table before him. Captain Park Soo-jin, an intelligence coordinator, Joe Manesio, flanked him, their faces showing no emotion as the accusations flew. When Zixthera finished his speech, Kim stood slowly. The chamber fell silent again as he walked to the central platform, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. Honored representatives, Kim began, his voice calm and clear. When we first joined your coalition, you welcomed us as students. You invited us to learn from your advanced civilizations. You encouraged us to study your cultures and your peoples. He held up the data pad. We took that invitation very seriously. Kim activated the device. Holographic displays suddenly filled the chamber, showing detailed information about every species present. Biological data, technological assessments, social structures, planetary locations, everything laid out in perfect, terrifying detail. What you are seeing, Kim continued, is what we call the list. It contains complete extinction protocols for every coalition species. Not theories or guesses, but verified methodologies based on careful observation and testing. The chamber erupted in shocked voices and harmonic discord. Representatives jumped to their feet, their translator devices struggling to keep up with the chaos of different languages and communication methods. Dr. Lee Hana stood from the human section, her voice cutting through the noise. For the Veltar alone, we have identified 1,247 distinct elimination methods using currently available human technology. We have tested these methods and confirmed their effectiveness. A Veltar delegate's skin shifted through rapid color changes, showing extreme distress. Tested? What do you mean tested? Every attack on human settlements provided us with biological samples, Hana replied matter-of-factly. Every captured raider gave us detailed scans of coalition physiology. Every accident and equipment failure taught us more about your technological dependencies. Commander Hung Junho added his own information. The list is updated daily and distributed to every human vessel, colony, and outpost. It is standard survival protocol. Every human child learns basic threat assessment before they learn to read. The ancient axiom, prime resonance, projected confusion through its crystal matrix. Why do you share this information? Why reveal your capabilities? Kim looked around the chamber at the terrified faces of species that had lived in comfort for millennia. Because we want you to understand what you are dealing with. On our world, extinction is always one mistake away. We learned to be ready for everything. You studied us like laboratory animals, accused a Zephyrian collective voice. We studied you like potential threats, Kim corrected, because that is what our experience taught us to do. Every species we encountered could have been our destroyer. We prepared accordingly. Dr. Shinbora activated another section of the display. Your peaceful civilizations have been remarkable to observe. You have eliminated war, conquest, and survival competition. You have created paradise. The data showed coalition worlds beautiful, safe, perfectly maintained environments where nothing dangerous ever happened. But in doing so, Shin continued, you have also eliminated natural selection pressure. Your immune systems are weak. Your survival instincts are gone. Your emergency response capabilities are almost non-existent. Kim gestured to the displays showing how each species required perfect environmental conditions to survive. The cannot tolerate temperature variations greater than 2 degrees. The Zephyrians die if their atmospheric mix changes by even small amounts. The axiom crack if exposed to certain sound frequencies. You are children playing in a garden, added Intelligence Officer Yoon So-young. Beautiful, brilliant children who have never seen a predator. The chamber was deadly quiet now. Every representative was staring at the data showing their species' vulnerabilities, laid bare in perfect detail. We do not want to use this information, Kim said firmly. We share it because we want you to understand the difference between us. You created peace by removing all dangers. We created survival by preparing for every danger. Elder Axiom Prime Resonance spoke, its ancient voice carrying across the chamber. What do you want from us? Kim looked around the assembly one more time. We want to keep you safe, all of you. Because in a universe full of real dangers, someone needs to remember how to fight. He deactivated the datapad, and the holographic displays faded away. The list exists. It will always exist. But it exists to protect, not to threaten. The silence that followed seemed to last forever. Then, slowly, representatives began to sit back down. The initial shock was fading, replaced by a new understanding. These humans were not conquerors or destroyers. They were guardians who had learned to think like predators in order to protect the prey. The vote to expel humanity from coalition space failed by an overwhelming margin. Instead, they voted to give humans something they had never given anyone before, complete access to coalition space and technology, because sometimes, paradise needed protectors who remembered what hell looked like. 3 months after the list revelation, the galaxy looked very different. Captain Ru Taemin stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel, indomitable as it prepared for humanity's first official deep space mission under the new arrangement with the Coalition. The mission briefing had been unlike anything in human history. Elder Axiom Prime Resonance itself had requested the meeting. Its ancient crystal body, flickering with patterns that showed genuine fear. Something approaches from the void between galaxies, the Elder had explained. Our long-range sensors detect massive energy signatures moving toward Coalition space. We have observed similar patterns only once before, 60 million years ago. Admiral Chen Miang had asked the obvious question. What happened 60 million years ago? The Kethmori extinction event, came the reply. 47 species disappeared completely. Entire star systems went dark. We barely survived by hiding in the galactic core. Now the Indomitable and its crew were heading toward the galactic rim to investigate this new threat. The ship carried representatives from several coalition species, but the command structure was entirely human. Captain, reported First Officer Im Sojin from her station. We're receiving detailed sensor data from the Coalition monitoring stations. The approaching objects are definitely artificial. Ships? Asked Rue. More like mobile planets. The smallest one is roughly the size of Earth's moon. Dr. Choi Minjin, the mission xenobiologist, looked up from his analysis station. The energy patterns suggest they're harvesting matter from space itself. Comets, asteroids, anything they encounter gets absorbed and converted. On the other side of the galaxy, the new relationship between humans and the Coalition was already showing results. Colonial Administrator Han Yujin was coordinating the evacuation of a Veltar research station that had been exposed to dangerous radiation from a nearby pulsar. The Veltar scientists will die if they stay here more than 6 hours, reported Dr. Park Ji-woo. But their research data is critical for Coalition defense systems. How long do we need to finish the data recovery? Han asked. 72 hours minimum. Han nodded calmly. Set up the emergency shelters. We'll stay and finish the job. 2. The Veltar scientists. This was an act of impossible heroism. To the humans, it was just another day dealing with hazardous working conditions. Back on the Indomitable, the crew was getting their first close look at the approaching threat. The main screen showed something that defied easy description. Vast structures that seemed to bend space around themselves, surrounded by clouds of smaller vessels. They're not just ships, observed Navigator Lee Sung-go. They're ecosystem killers. Look at the trajectory data. The analysis was terrifying. The alien fleet was moving through space like a plague, consuming everything in its path. Entire solar systems were being stripped of matter to fuel their advance. Estimated time to reach Coalition space? Asked Captain Rue. At current speed. 18 months, Im replied. Communication Officer Yoon Soyoung suddenly looked up from her station. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the lead vessel. It's in perfect Korean. The message was simple and chilling. Prepare for harvest. Resistance will be processed. Submission will be rewarded with quick consumption. Dr. Choi started taking detailed scans of the alien ships. I'm detecting technology that's millions of years old, but constantly upgrading itself. They learn from everything they encounter. So they adapt, said Rue thoughtfully. Just like we do. But they adapt by destroying and consuming, Choi corrected. We adapt by surviving and building. The Indomitable began its return journey to Coalition space, carrying crucial intelligence about the approaching threat. But Captain Rue was already thinking beyond simple reconnaissance. So-young, open a secure channel to Fleet Command, he ordered. Tell them we need to speak with Admiral Chen immediately. Yes, sir. What should I tell her this is regarding? Tell her we need to update the list. Meanwhile, on the Coalition, Capital World, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho was meeting with representatives from every major species. The news of the approaching harvest fleet had spread quickly, causing panic in some sectors and desperate planning sessions in others. Our combined fleets cannot stop them, admitted Coalition Fleet Commander Siltheros. Their technology is to advance, their numbers too great. What do you recommend? Asked the Zephyrian representative. Kim exchanged glances with his aide Park Jimin. We recommend you let us handle this. Handle this? They're harvesting entire star systems. Yes, Kim replied calmly. And they're expecting to face civilized opponents who follow rules and try to minimize casualties. They're not expecting to face Deathworlders. Dr. Lee Hana activated a holographic display showing human fleet positions throughout Coalition space. We've been preparing for this since the moment we joined the Coalition. Not this specific threat, but something like it. Our species spent 10,000 years learning how to fight extinction-level events, added Commander Hong Junho. Every war, every plague, every natural disaster taught us something new about survival. The Coalition representatives looked at the human fleet deployments with growing understanding. Humanity hadn't just joined their peaceful alliance. They had been quietly preparing to defend it, Captain Rue's voice came through the communication system from the returning Indomitable. Admiral Chen, we have complete tactical data on the Harvest Fleet. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol Extinction 7. Kim smiled at the confused alien faces around the conference table. Protocol Extinction 7 is our plan for fighting enemies who think consumption equals victory. What does it involve? Asked Elder Axiom, Prime Resonance. Teaching them that humans are very hard to digest. As the meeting continued, human ships throughout the galaxy began moving into new positions. The Harvest Fleet was coming to consume a peaceful civilization. Instead, they were about to encounter something they had never faced before. Prey that had learned to hunt back. The galaxy was about to discover why Deathworlders made the best guardians of paradise.